It's your turn, Jimmy.
Oh, is it? Okay.
It's your turn.
Hi, everybody. It's Friday. Yeah, it's like I keep trying to...
You're like doing...
Ta-da! And then he's going, ta-da!
This is not scripted. It's just right off fucking top.
We just sit down in here and just start fucking talking. That's how we do this.
Saw a good movie last night.
Yeah, that's kind of what I want to talk about. I Wikipedia'd that dude as well because I knew I'd heard about him before.
We got to do a show on him.
We should because that's what I was thinking when I was reading through his Wikipedia page. I'm like, yeah, this guy needs a whole episode.
Yeah. Pookie's getting in the light. We do.
That's some crazy shit.
Pookie's bathing in the red light.
Oh, pretty.
Leave it alone, Pook. Yeah, Sophie sent us a real good movie.
Called Bronson.
It's called Bronson. Get out of there. And look at her. She's denying us light. She's like, that's a new one. Okay, now she's back. You done? Okay.
We had all this pretty light set up, and then Pookie came in and was like, allow me to shit all over that.
Yeah, allow me to shit all on his light. Yeah, England had this guy. His name was, he called himself Charles Bronson.
Yeah.
And he's England's fucking most lunatic
most
prisoner.
Violent criminal. Not a murderer, though.
No, and he wasn't that much of a criminal. He was just more a prisoner.
And he just did
the shit he did in prison.
Mostly.
Yeah.
I mean, all the shit that he got caught for was just like armed robbery and stuff like that, which is bad. I'm not saying it's not. But he wasn't like a serial killer or anything. Yeah. It just seemed like he would get caught for something, get like a 2-year, 5-year sentence or something like that.
Turn that in like 20.
And then he would like cause so much ruckus in prison by like beating up guards, beating up other prisoners, taking people hostage, all this other kind of stuff, that he would get more time added onto his sentence.
Right. And actually the shit that he did outside while he was free was child's play compared to what he was doing inside.
Yeah. I think he seemed to genuinely enjoy being in prison.
He's insane.
Yeah. I don't think he was stupid, though, because, I mean, I was kind of thinking that, because you have to think that the movie, and actually the movie was older than I thought when I looked it up earlier. It came out in 2008.
Oh, okay.
Tom Hardy is in it.
Yeah.
And he's fucking great in this.
Yeah, you guys want to see a good...
He plays a good lunatic.
If you guys want to see... If you liked Clockwork Orange...
This is very Clockwork Orange.
It's almost kind of like a sequel to Clockwork Orange in a way. It's a big Clockwork Orange homage. It's got the same tone. It's got voiceovers. It's
got all the classical music.
Classical music. Stuff, yeah. It's very much like Clockwork Orange style.
Yeah.
And the character is like something out of damn Clockwork Orange. He's like something out of that damn book.
Yeah.
You know, I read that book. It was a good book.
It was, yeah.
And he is like Alex, crazier than Alex, but.
I'm interested in his psychology, and like now that I started reading about him because the movie is, you know, highly stylized and it's loosely based on his life, and actually they left a lot of stuff out. He's still alive nowadays.
Yeah.
And a lot of shit happened subsequently. You know, after the movie came out, even. But
is he still locked up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can't let him go.
That's what the fascinating thing about him is that it seemed that the authorities in the UK, after a time, they were just like, they had no idea, like, what to do with him, because they had never encountered anyone like this before. Like I said, he's not a serial killer. He was, like, mostly started out as, like, a petty criminal, but then every time he got caught, he would just, like, do this really fucked up shit in jail just so he could either stay in there longer, or he just seemed to, like, enjoy it, I guess.
At the time that the movie came out, he had done, I think, 34 years in prison.
Yeah, and insane asylums.
And an insane asylum, off of basically a 6-year sentence. And 30 years of that 34-year sentence was done in solitary confinement.
Yeah. I found out later...
He just, like a crash dummy, at every turn... He made things worse for himself. It was almost kind of like masochism and sadomasochism.
Maybe that's what it was.
Might be. It's like he loves to punish others and to punish himself. Like he didn't want any privileges. He wanted everything taken away. He wanted everything to be harder and harder and harder. Just nuts, you know. Prisoners tend to be easy to control. The more time they have to serve, usually the better conditions, here in the U.S., the better conditions they give them and the more privileges they give them. That way you have something to take away.
Yeah.
And most guys who are locked up, if they're with 30 life sentences, 34-year sentences, a lot of them do pretty good time. I mean, you do your research, or at least you can go online and guys will talk about prison and what the prison scene is like. You can't have a guy locked up with nothing to lose. He becomes too fucking dangerous.
Well, yeah.
The bigger the sentence, the more usually they give that guy, they give him a reason to live. Because they don't want him to run around kill staff and,
well, yeah, because then he becomes a danger to others.
Dangerous to everybody, And you can't lock them all up in solitary confinement. There's tens and hundreds of thousands of them here in the United States that are like that. Because there's millions of people locked up. Most of it's small shit, but there's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of fucking life sentence dudes. And that's a sizable portion, of the prison population. And it would be real expensive, and it would be unrealistic to keep each one of them locked up in solitary confinement. Besides, they had families, and their families would protest it.
Yeah.
And their lawyers would get involved.
I mean, they're still human beings.
Yeah.
I mean, I would argue, yes, we've done some shows about some serial killers that I would argue they should just throw them in a hole somewhere and forget about them.
Good example being Louisiana. Louisiana's biggest heavy-duty penitentiary would be Angola. And Angola is where they send lifers or guys with fucking huge sentences. It was originally kind of like a sugarcane plantation, and it was like something out of Angola, a place where, you had black people out in the field working sugarcane plantations, because back in the 1700s, that's what it was like, But Angola today, you can go online and look at it, is famous for, it's rodeo. That's like something those guys really would aspire to, is to be one of the rodeo clowns.
Yeah.
Or a fucking rodeo rider. They make a lot of money, and it's kind of like going to see a damn, what do you call it? Like a damn gladiatory fucking event. Gladiators out in an arena. And they have these fucking crazy ass competitions, that these prisoners want to do. Dress up as a damn clown and try to take a $100 bill off the forehead of a fucking bull.
Yeah.
Or they set up a damn poker table, and you sit there, and you're all dressed up as clowns, and let the bull go, and the last man to get up from the table wins.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? They're all trying to not get up. And they're not being forced to do this. They fucking work to become a rodeo star or a clown. They want to do that.
Remember we saw that movie, which was a fictional movie, probably sometime last year, but it was based on a true thing, called The Mustang. And it was about I think that was out in Arizona or New Mexico or something like that, where they had these prison programs where they have the prisoners train the horses, break the Mustangs and have rodeos and stuff like that, because some of these prisoners, they have to have something to do, and they have to have something to aspire to. There's going to be a very small percentage, I said, your real hardcore serial killers or psychopaths that aren't going to respond to that. But I think most prisoners would respond to that type of thing. And it makes them, like you said, it makes them easier to control.
It makes them a lot easier to control.
And not so much a danger to the people that have to work in the prisons and deal with them every day.
And Angola's, like I said, it's a plantation-style prison. It doesn't really look like a prison. It looks more like a town. It does have fences, but they get to walk around. There's no way out of there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Unless you have a vehicle. And then some of them are actually turned into Class A trustees, where they'll drive trucks across the state. For the state, which is insane when you think about it. But no, they do have prisoners with life sentences that they'll let drive a truck across the state.
Yeah.
Which, they're supervised, but they're still doing it.
Yeah.
So it's odd when you run across a story about a guy like Charles Bronson that he would have a big sentence like that, or actually start off with a small sentence.
Yeah, I think his first sentence
six
was
years.
only it was 6 years
or 8 years, something like that.
Yeah, it was fairly minor.
Yeah, and he has a small sentence, and then he goes out and does whatever he can do to turn it into a bigger sentence, and then he makes the incarceration more intensive.
Yeah.
Like he enjoys it, or there's something he can't control. He can't control himself,
Yeah.
So they did kind of to him what they would do in the United States. They would assume that he was insane, so they sent him to a damn insane asylum.
Well, he served time in 3 different, including Broadmoor, the very famous.
Yeah.
But he served time ultimately in 3 different, the 3 big, criminally insane hospitals in the UK. He served time in all of them.
Yeah, in the U.S. they would just find him insane. they would say you're fucking insane.
And they'd throw him in.
Yeah, they throw him in a mental. And once you get into something like that, there's no sentence to serve. You might be there forever.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because we were talking about this last night because I was like, well, if you get sent, I know that like a lot of prisoners, depending on what kind of sentence they're looking at, what prison they're going to, the various other things, it's like maybe going to a mental hospital would be better in the sense that you might have more room, you might have more privileges, you might have
to take drugs.
Yeah, you get to free drugs, whatever.
Yeah.
However, there is another thing where if they send you to a mental asylum, there's no end game.
There's
I
no
mean,
guarantee
you
you'll
might
get
let out at some
Yeah.
point, but you might not. It kind of like depends on how shit goes.
You have to be declared insane.
Yeah. So it's not a kind of thing where, oh, your sentence is over, you're free now.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, well, maybe you'll get out and maybe you won't.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of a trade-off. But this guy really did seem, you know, and when I read about him, like I said, they didn't go into this in the movie, but later on, like, he wrote a bunch of books, his art, you know, because they kind of went a little bit into, like, him doing the art thing. You know, his art's been auctioned off, like, for charity and stuff like that. He's considered, like, an outsider artist. One of the funniest things is that, I guess it's not funny, but it's kind of funny in a fucked up way, was that one of the books that he wrote, because he's, like, a big fitness advocate, you know, is like, you know, working out and everything. One of his books is about the best ways to exercise in confined spaces.
Oh, yeah. Well, he'd be a special.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? Which, you know,
Yeah.
that's what he knows how to do. He knows how
Right.
to do when he's just like in a tiny fucking cell.
Or how to work out without any weights.
Yeah, that too. It's like, so that's like his specialty.
Probably standing on his head a lot and doing handstands
I
and
would
doing
imagine
push-ups like
that's
that.
probably what he's doing. But yeah,
Yeah.
he's done like a whole bunch of, that's kind of like his area of expertise,
Yeah.
I guess. Because
They'd
he's
show
always-
his fighting style. He'd take all his clothes off and oil himself up. So he's harder to grasp. His fucking...
Yeah, like a grease
He
pig.
had that little fucking Tom Hardy fucking... with his little crooked fucking hanging out in the bottom fucking fighting this shit.
Yeah, ladies or gay men and whatever. If you want to see Tom Hardy naked, this is the movie. He's naked in about half of this movie.
Yeah, and evidently Bronson was straight, but he had a lot of gay support.
Yeah.
You know, gay dudes were trying to help him, you know, on the inside and out. They never really say whether or not he was messing with the gay dudes, but he probably was. I'm thinking he probably was.
Yeah, he really didn't seem to have an
Because
issue in that department.
he seemed to have a lot of them wrapped around his fingers.
Yeah.
You know, the art
Well, he
teacher
did like
and
that whole underground fight club thing
Yeah.
and like a lot of, I guess there was
when
like...
he met that dude in prison.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah. And that guy got out later. And
got out later and helped him in an underground fight club. He was fighting even attack dogs.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Which, that's some crazy shit.
Yeah.
And also, they didn't mention this in the movie either, but he was like, maybe this is where I had heard of him before, because I was reading about the Krays, you know, Reggie and Ronnie Kray, the very famous twin brother gangsters in the UK, probably the most famous gangsters in UK history. But he was a friend of theirs, like, or an associate of theirs, so that's probably where I had heard of him before. Because we were watching the movie, and I'm going, I know this dude. I'm like, I have heard of this dude, but I couldn't remember like reading about him specifically, so I must have read about him like in the course of researching something else. Probably when I was reading about the Krays, I heard about him.
Yeah.
Or like a murder maybe that I was reading
So
about.
really, we'll probably do a review of this movie eventually. So this really isn't a review of the movie. It's just a heads up and a recommendation to watch this movie called Bronson.
It's weird. It's a weird movie. It's very stylized.
Yeah, and a very good movie.
Yeah.
I mean, Jenny, did I even once look at my tablet?
You did not.
Not even once did I.
Which, like I said, that's something.
And I was like going, the music's great, the edit's great. Sometimes it jumps back and forth, so sometimes I got a little bit confused about how much
it's not
time.
a straight biopic by any means.
But I just felt like I was watching another installment of like A Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, it
So I
really
felt like
did.
it
I mean, even
went
5
right
or
along
10
with it.
minutes into the movie, I was just like, wow, this is like Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
Like, the tone of it's very similar. And I don't think it's just because it's like this uber violent, like, British prison system type of thing that has classical music in it.
It definitely homages it, though.
Well, there was one scene in particular where I said,
he's getting out. He's doing little marching around.
And he does that, you know, like, in front of the fucking prison warden or whatever.
And the voiceover, the edit, just everything, him telling his story, it just was kind of like, it's not like Alex telling it to you. It's just like it's from that same genre.
Yeah.
You could watch the movies back to back and go, yeah, all right. Like it's like a crime genre.
Yeah.
The Clockwork Orange genre.
Yeah. It would make a good double feature, actually, those two movies. They fucking, I tell you what, I don't know about nowadays, but, when I was, when I was living over there and when I was kind of, reading a lot about shit that was going on over there, man, they love their crime movies and crime stories and stuff like that. There is kind of an undercurrent, I guess in American folklore as well, there is an undercurrent of, like, anti-heroes with, like, a lot of criminals, not with serial killers and shit like that. They have kind of the same relationship with serial killers we have over here, where it's kind of like people like hearing about them, but they're not lionized necessarily. However, they do seem to have, like, a romanticized thing about people that were kind of like outlaws, like bank robbers, that type of stuff. You know what I mean? In the UK.
In the UK?
Yeah.
Probably because UK culture is kind of a little bit conformist, I'd say. It seems to be, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, they listen to authority, it sounds like.
Well, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. I never really got that impression. When I was there, like in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, it seemed like the perception that people had of the UK, like in the United States, was something that was like an old person thing over there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I only encountered that like in older, like my grandparents' age. My people my own age and like younger than me.
There's certain aspects of
I didn't really get that.
There are certain aspects of British culture though that just wouldn't fly here. I mean, look at law enforcement. Look at the difference.
Yeah.
The British cops don't have guns.
Some of them don't.
The ones that I've seen on TV don't.
There are
branches,
branches that do.
Yeah,
there are branches.
But they kind of call them out only in emergency, don't they?
Well, only in a particular case where it would be called for. They don't call them out for anything because most of the shit's minor. You
couldn't have that in the United States. If a cop is unarmed, then he's a dead man, basically.
Well, yeah, I guess depending on where it is. I mean, like I said,
just go. All right, I ain't gonna talk about it. Go on a channel on YouTube called Police Activity, and watch all the damn police shootings and everything that fucking police here have to deal with. It's absolutely insane. I just saw one. It's either today or yesterday. I don't remember. A dude calls the cops and says, I was walking down the street and a guy hit me in the back of the head with a sword. And the person's like, are you bleeding? And he goes, and I don't think he was, but he says, no, but he hit in the back of the head with a sword. He's just walking down the street. Cops show up. They see the guy. He's trying to hide in the bushes. The cops say, hey, come out here, motherfucker. That's what the cop said. Dude came out and charged him and pulled a sword out and fucking ran right towards that cop. That cop just fucking, of course, had already had a gun pulled on him. Probably shot him about 6 times in the chest before that guy hit the ground. And when he hit it, you can see it, just hit like a sack of shit. But it's just that the cops here deal with insanity. It's total insanity. Even if you have a gun pointed at these guys, they'll attack you.
Well, that dude sounded like a total lunatic.
But there's lots of them.
Well, yeah.
On that channel, you will see that same theme over and over and over again. Out of most of those shootings, it's an unarmed or a semi-armed man running directly at the cops through a hail of fucking gunfire. Shit that a sane person just would never do.
I feel like a lot of times that's either drugs and or suicide by cop.
Yeah.
Could be a combo of both things.
Yeah, or just, yeah. Yeah.
Or a lunatic.
Right.
Could be all three of those things. None of them are mutually exclusive.
And, and it's totally understandable if you were in the position of these cops why they just shoot first. Because that's what they just see that over and over and over again in their training. You give a cop any shit here, he assumes you're going to fucking attack him.
Yeah, probably.
And just YouTube, it's called Police Activity. Look at that channel. You will just be fucking appalled at some of the stupid shit these dudes do to get shot.
Yeah.
Well,
like I said, it seems like they want to get shot, or they don't know what's going on.
They
must want to get shot.
I can't make a generalization
because you're going to get shot.
Yeah. I just can't make.
You gotta know.
I can't make a generalization. You know what I mean? And they're getting shot over a cop just questioning them over something that wouldn't barely be some of the times in some of the shootings, what the guy did would be like a very low-level misdemeanor and then probably not going to even get arrested for. You know what I mean? But still, they just do a kamikaze attack on the cop over something that would be like a $20 fine.
Sometimes in a case like that, it might be that person is guilty of something much worse and is afraid maybe that the police will call. Because look at some shit like look at some shit like some serial killers that they operate with impunity for 10, 20 years, but then they get caught doing some minor shit.
But there'll be a whole description right underneath the video of what the actual situation was. And after the investigation, really the person what it boils down to is the person was stupid.
Well,
the person wasn't wanted. We have no
shortage of crazy and
it didn't have anything to do with that.
I just said, I didn't say that was...
Statistically, the average reason is because they're stupid. It doesn't have anything to do with crimes that they committed.
No, I just said that could be a factor in
some of them. That's
what I said.
But
that's all I said.
But we're probably talking like maybe in that channel... Whenever it's mentioned, that'd be like maybe 5% of them.
That's all I said. I just said that might be a factor in some of the cases. I didn't say that was a factor in all of them.
No, in most of them, it's just
what did I say? What did I say 5 minutes ago? I said they could either be lunatics or on drugs, or they just wanted to get shot, like suicide by cop.
I guess they just want to.
Like I said, in a small amount of cases, it might be somebody that did some worse shit and didn't want to get caught.
Because when these dudes get shot, you can tell they don't want to get shot because sometimes they're twisting and turning and trying to dodge the bullets. Or when they do get shot, they're surprised that they got shot. They turn around and go, oh, my, and then they start, woe is me, before they die.
Maybe they think they have superpowers.
Like they had superpowers and that they got shot, and then, oh, wow, I shouldn't have done that. Oh, why did you shoot me?
Well, everybody
And the dude had a damn fucking axe in his hand or something.
Yeah.
Why'd you shoot me? It's fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid.
Well, yeah. Well, like I said, I'm not denying that people are stupid.
Fucking dumb.
A lot of people are stupid.
Fucking dumb.
Trust me, I know.
Just died for nothing, you know.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But the thing about it and how we got into this whole situation or conversation was that this guy kind of fascinates me because he doesn't seem stupid. He may very well be crazy. Charlie Bronson, which like I said, that's not his real name. What was his real name? Michael Peterson, right? Michael Peterson was, I think, his real name. But he's changed it since then, like a couple of times. Yeah. Now he wants to be known as Charles Salvador because he named himself after Salvador Dali because that's his favorite artist.
Not an artist, yeah.
So I don't know if he legally changed it to that, but that's what he wants to be changed. So I think this is the third or fourth name change. But he did that back in 2014, apparently. But he just fascinated me because he could have just done, a couple year sentence for whatever the initial crime was. It was usually like assault, like I said, armed robbery, stuff like that, which like I said is not good, but it's not, you're not going to get like a life in prison for that. But he just kept causing trouble and he just did it very deliberately.
Yeah.
It seemed like he was very deliberately.
It was sadomasochism.
I think it was. And that's what makes him so fascinating is he really seemed to enjoy the experience of being in prison, the experience of getting in fights, like this kind of excitement of...
The experience of being punished.
Of punishing others and being punished himself.
They asked him what he would want. They're just like, what is it you want from us? What do you want us to do for you? You know what I mean? Like, he would take people hostage and then make demands, and they said, what do you want? And he'd be like, fuck off.
Yeah.
No, he didn't want anything.
He didn't want anything.
Yeah.
I don't know if he could just not articulate it,
or if he
just... I don't think he wanted anything.
He didn't want anything. He just wanted some action. He wanted a change.
Yeah.
Maybe to go to another cell. Maybe to go to another prison. Maybe to, something to change in the environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he wanted.
He seemed like he constantly needed some
need to go somewhere else in the
stimulation.
System. I want to go to this prison. I want to go to that one.
Try some different shit out.
He wanted to be famous too, and he remember whenever they were transferred him, he'd be walking out with like fanfare of the other prisoners.
Yeah.
So I think
because he would beat up guards and shit.
Yes, I think the attention that he got from and the attention and the approval that he got from the other prisoners, I think, was part of his.
Yeah, some of it I'm sure was attention-seeking.
That he could fight and that he could take this punishment and that he was a man and they were all pussies. That's what he says. I think that had a lot to do with it too.
Yeah, but it's a really, really good movie.
Yeah.
And like I said, we might do a movie retrospective on it because it's like I said, it's older than I initially thought it was.
We haven't reviewed the actual movie.
Yeah, that's
the quality
true.
of the movie. We're just making a recommendation at this point.
Yeah, and we were more talking about like the real guy behind it because the movie is, like I said, it's very loosely based on his life or whatever.
Yeah.
So what's today? It's Friday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the package just got delivered to the door. I heard it.
Oh, okay. Oh,
I heard him ring it. You didn't hear him ring the bell?
No, I didn't.
I heard it.
Because you were probably talking
It was
like drowning out the doorbell.
Senses. That's right.
All right, so we're gonna wrap it up because we gotta do a couple more things, and we probably gotta record a long show
tonight.
So we gotta get ready to bolster our livers and get ready for tonight's show.
Yeah,
I got some more research I gotta do and shit like that. So have a good rest of your Friday. We'll talk to you guys again tomorrow.